Welcome to video 3.7 in our first Principles of Astrophotography series. In this video, we discuss our observing target list, which currently has 231 celestial objects on it, and growing.
When we were gifted with a clear, dark night, we turned to this list to decide what to shoot.
The list is not definitive. I mean, it's very subjective. It's simply a list of objects that we have observed in the past or we would like to observe in the future. I mean, your mileage may vary.
Yeah. The list is a Google spreadsheet with a link in the description below. Those who find it useful are welcome to make copies to use as templates for their own lists.
This video is based on section 3.7 of our first Principles of Astrophotography book, which is also linked in the description below.
I'm Ren Edwards.
And I'm Boyd Edwards.
Let's talk sensor sensibility. Principle 44, observing target list. An observing target list that includes right ascensions, declinations, opposition dates, field radii, and culmination altitudes can assist in planning observations.
Are you getting some attitude?
I'm getting attitude.
All right, so this is our list, and you can take and modify it or just use it or whatever you want. So the catalog number we normally put in the first column, the constellation in which it appears, the type of an object, an emission nebula or a dark nebula. We'll talk more about these types of celestial objects in the next chapter where we talk about light. The magnitude, and we'll talk more about the magnitude in a subsequent video. The size, this is 35 arc minutes. We talked about angles and how to measure them in arc minutes, arc seconds, etc.
So that's your field radius?
No. This here's the field radius, and and we'll talk about this in video 12.1. The field radius, if the length of the field is L and the width of the field is W, the field radius is this, that's the field diameter. Half of that distance is the field radius. We'll talk about that there. This is something different, and it's certainly related to the radius. This column just came from, this list has had several reincarnations in my life. It started off as a list that I used for observing years and years ago, and the sources that talked about these objects would give a size, a rough size. So it's just probably if it's a galaxy, the length from one end to the other end.
Oh,
it's kind of a rough idea of the size of the object itself.
In arc minutes.
In arc minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In some cases, I think I have them in arc seconds if they're really small. But this is the field radius of the photograph that we find compelling.
Oh, yes. Right.
So if there's and normally we have astrobin photos that we admire and that we want to replicate or do better than, and so in astrobin you can click on the object, and depending on if you're looking at the classic view or the new view that they have in astrobin, you can find out that field radius, which is this. It's half the diagonal. It's from here to here, which gives you a really good idea. Our field radius of our celestron is about half, and these are measured in degrees. So the field radius of our celestron telescope, 9.25, is about half a degree. And so if we wanted to shoot, say, Thor's helmet, we'd grab the celestron, whereas if we wanted to shoot, for example, this guy with a field radius of 2 degrees, then we'd grab the red cat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And astrobin's a really good place to go because you can find not just like the field radius, you can find the way that the object is positioned, and find really great ideas for how you're going to shoot the object, not just how big is it and when is it going to be. Yeah. It's a really great. It's a good resource.
We highly recommend astrobin. The fellow, I forget what his name is now. I've corresponded with him, but it's just really, really well done. You're forced to put in your acquisition details too, just how much time you spent on target, how long your exposures were, which filters did you use. All that stuff is super useful information when you're planning your own observation. So we really highly recommend it.
Nice.
So these three numbers are the right ascension of the celestial object measured in hours. A full circle, I talked in the last video, a full circle is 24 hours. And then minutes of right ascension and seconds of right ascension. And we give a way to convert those components, the hours, minutes, and seconds of right ascension, into a decimal hour right ascension, which is going to be somewhere close to, so this number will almost always be the same number as this, or it will be actually. So it's the right ascension measured not in hours, minutes, and seconds, but in decimal hours, a fraction of an hour.
So for us to know when to shoot it, we really only need hours. Why do we keep minutes and seconds on there?
That's actually a pretty good question. Hours gives you enough information for figuring out opposition. Yeah, that's a good point. It is useful to have this information if the object, for example, isn't in your C-Star catalog. If you're using C-Star or the SIR, you can punch in these coordinates to actually find the object in the sky, right? So these are the declinations of the objects in degrees, minutes, arc minutes, and arc seconds. And then this is the declination in decimal degrees, where you convert the degrees, minutes, seconds into a decimal number. And that, the declination, as we talked about in an earlier video of this chapter, is what allows you to determine what the culmination altitude of the object is going to be, how high it's going to rise in your sky, and whether you need to travel to Australia to see it.
Yeah.
So then this is the day of the year of this dy is the day of the year of the date of opposition. So this 2 means that it's January, first month, second day. And so as you move down, once you get to day 42, you're into February 11th. So it just converts between the day that you can calculate using a wheel of opposition and an actual month and day of the year. But again, I mean, if you're just using the wheel of opposition, then really all you need is, well, in terms of opposition, then you're talking about right ascensions. You can figure out roughly what this day is by just saying the right ascension is 6 hours, look in the wheel of opposition, the date of opposition is going to be roughly in January somewhere, whatever.
Right.
Then these columns are, I mean, specific for us. This is our own list, but this is the culmination altitude, like we talked about in a previous video, for our latitude, which in northern Utah and southern Idaho, where we do our observing, is 42 degrees. But my wife and I are planning a trip to Peru. We'll be there for 2 years. And so we've also listed the culmination altitudes at Tarma, Peru, which has a latitude of negative 11 degrees.
That's about the population too.
Negative 11? Yeah, it's going to be a fairly remote area, and we're hoping for some dark skies down there for sure. If the culmination altitude at that latitude is greater than, I think I said, greater than 60 degrees, meaning it'll be really high in the sky, then I've colored in that square green. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you.
No.
So for example, this one, Thor's helmet, if we want to shoot it from home here in northern Utah,
Yeah.
its culmination altitude is 35 degrees.
Not a fan.
It's not going to spend a whole lot of time above the, the 30 degree altitude. So that's the observing target list. It's something we consult often. We even had little, we got the family together, remember early on, we showed them a bunch of pictures and said, which ones do you like the best? And
We call it our astro fashion show or whatever.
oh yeah,
right?
we had like a fashion show.
Yeah.
And who thinks this object is pretty and
Yeah.
what should our priorities be? But yeah, it's a very subjective thing, and as you're developing in the field of astrophotography, you just half of the fun is just looking at pictures that people have taken on Astrobin or Facebook or wherever, and saying, "Hey, I'd like to shoot that." That's just where the fun is, and then dreaming about taking it, thinking about, and just admiring the universe. That's what it's all about, I think.
Yeah. We can spend our own time on the same thing everyone else has done and still appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow, like we talked about in the intro video, somehow the fact, I just finished shooting the Dark Shark, and Ren had to work, so I spent 6 nights in Treasureton sleeping in my car, taking images of the Dark Shark. I think I got like 26 hours worth of data. Well, yeah, is it worth it? It's a 45-minute drive up, 45-minute drive back, spending all night, not getting much sleep. And, well, when you see the final image, you kind of go,
Yeah.
I sweat some bullets for that image. And so I think. Well, thanks so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time.